Welcome to the Habit-Based Lifestyle Podcast. Use the power of discovering new habits to create success in all areas of life. Body, fitness and nutrition, being, spirituality, passion and purpose, balance, marriage, kids and relationships, business, marketing, sales, leadership and systems. Transform your life by learning how habits work. And now your host, a husband, father, entrepreneur, trainer, coach, and warrior, Jesse Youll.
Welcome back to the Habit-Based Lifestyle Podcast. I'm your host, Jesse Youll, and today we're going to be talking about the habit of being uncomfortable. And as we get into 2020, everybody's excited, everybody's hyped up about growth, about what they're going to do, about what they committed to, all these resolutions. But I want to ask you a question. Are you truly committed to growth? I mean, if you're sitting there, like, raise your hand just to signal, hey, I'm committed to growth in 2020, because here's what I have found. Most people that I interview, that I coach, they say that they want this thing called growth. They say that they want to grow, and they want to grow at an accelerated rate. They say that they are committed to it. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because this was actually brought up in our Power Couples program, formerly known as Marriage Boot Camp, Marriagehood. But this happened to be brought up by a couple in our program. And what they've done is they've experienced massive accelerated growth in their business, but it's also brought to attention some things that have came up in their relationship. And here is, I never want to bring anybody's name up because, you know, we all go through these growth pains, especially if you're inside of, you know, any type of coaching or personal development or just accelerated growth that you're on. If you've committed to this, you are committing to a couple different things. And I want to point these out and paint these out inside of your life so you know that, hey, if I'm truly committed to growth, like I say I am, I'm going to be growing in all areas. I'm going to be growing in problems. I'm going to be growing in patterns in my past that are going to come up and surface. So here is what I've experienced when I've chose to grow. And when I've chosen this path, that I have to be ready to get uncomfortable, because the minute I make that commitment, the minute a commitment is made, don't be surprised when you have your first test. And I want to paint this out because the test is only the beginning. See, there are many tests along the way, whether you're doing, whether it's over the course of a year or, 30, 60, 90 days, whatever that is, 6 months, whatever your goal is, whatever you're shooting for, there's going to be tests that come up along the way. And these tests are important. But the test is this really what I'm truly committed to? Insert your results. So whatever results you're looking for, whether it's a diet and you want to lose weight for the new year, whether you want to change how you're showing up at the gym, maybe you want to start taking your spouse on date nights, maybe you want to increase your revenue in your business, but this test will test you and say, listen, is this really what you're committed to? Insert your results. And what I mean by insert your results is put your results in there, and the universe is going to say, listen, are you truly committed to this? Is this really what you want? This is when things start getting uncomfortable. This is when the work actually starts showing up and 60% of people tap out. And I like to think of the new year as this, line of hundreds of thousands of people, and this gun goes off and everybody starts sprinting. Everybody's excited. Everybody's at the top of their game, kind of bragging. Their chest is out. And all of a sudden a hill happens and all these people are busy looking at each other that they get halfway up the hill or just start up the hill and they see what's in front of them. And they're like, oh shit, I don't think I want this anymore. And this is when people tend to tap out. This is when your idea of perfection gets stripped away on how shit is going to happen. Because let's be honest, we all have a tendency to look at, hey, here's exactly how this is going to go. And most of the time, it doesn't go the way we think it will or think it should. And it actually ends up being much different than we thought. But inside of this place, we have this perfect plan. We have this perfect way that things are going to go. And all of a sudden it doesn't. And we want to tap out. You see, in life, you can't have growth if you don't experience some type of discomfort. Generally, the more discomfort we experience, the more growth that we're going to experience also. And I think of last week, me going surfing. And as I went surfing, one of my friends happened to say, hey, man, one of the hardest things for you to do today is going to be to get out on your surfboard and get out past the waves. Once you get out past the waves, you'll be fine. But these waves were the biggest waves that I'd ever seen in my life. And here I am on an 8-foot foam board, trying to swim out, trying to get out and getting my ass kicked and getting knocked back in. And I kept getting knocked back in by waves that were, 5-6 feet high. These are some of the biggest waves I'd ever seen. And as I kept watching him and another guy that we were with, watching them, they kept going out. And one of them was on a small 6-foot board, not foam, and they were making it out. And I kept struggling. And I started to doubt myself, like, shit, man, I can't even make it out. I've never had this happen to me. But you know what? What happened was these waves were so big and so powerful. The growth was so big and so powerful that it began to wash everything in a way, and I began to get exposed in ways that I had not been exposed in surfing ever. You see, some days you're going to feel like this. You're going to feel like the discomfort of growth is so big and so powerful that it's going to expose all the holes in your life. And just like this couple that I coach inside of Power Couples, is their growth and what they've went through over the last 8 months to a year. And the discomfort has gotten to the point where everything in their life is being exposed because their business has grown at over nearly 40% over the year. Not only that, they're set up for already 40% growth this year. And so what does that expose? That's exposed things in their relationship that maybe they didn't feel like they had a problem with. They'd already dealt with. It's exposed things in their business. Listen, if you sell millions of dollars, if you sell 40% more than you did the year before, that means you have to fulfill 40% more than you did before. And you've just created a new problem. You've just created discomfort in your business. So I don't want to sit here and paint out that growth is this pretty looking thing. Growth is sort of like me getting my ass kicked by giant 6-foot waves and not being able to actually get out and stand on the beach and wonder what the hell's wrong with me. I can't even get out while someone else is making it look easy. And the reason they're making it look easy is because they've went through that pain. They've went through that discomfort on another day. And they no longer look at it as pain and discomfort. Now they're looking at it as like, hey, I get to go actually ride these waves. I get to go out and experience the ocean from a completely different place than I was. And this is no different. I get to experience growth in a different place than many other people do because I'm coaching it. I've been through it, and now I get to coach on it and know that, hey, I've been there. I've been getting my ass kicked in business. I've been exposing everything in my marriage. But you will feel, here's the reality. Some days you're going to feel defeated, like you're not growing, you're stuck. And for me, I compare this to surfing. That day, last week, I felt defeated. I felt like I wasn't growing. I felt like I was stuck because I was stuck getting pounded by waves. I didn't make it out. 45 minutes, and I felt like I'd went through a surf session and I hadn't even got up on my board. I couldn't even hardly get on my board. But other days, I'll feel like a hero on top of the world. Next thing I know, I'll feel like I hit ground zero. See, the minute you think you have shit figured out, life presents a whole new set of problems. Don't be surprised when you grow at an accelerated rate and everything else gets exposed in your life. Listen, problems in your business is going to be exposed. If you have a marketing problem and you solve that, you will have a sales problem. Once you solve that, you'll have a fulfillment problem. And that's just a natural thing. When you're successful and you're growing in your business, all of a sudden, problems in your marriage are going to happen because you're going to be spending more time and investing more time in the growth in your business that you may actually forget about date night. You may actually forget to invest in parts of your marriage, and that's going to get exposed. And if you're working together, guess what? Those growing pains are going to be shared. And as much as the growth accelerated, your growing pains are going to be accelerated just as much in your marriage. You'll have problems in your bank account. If you have scarcity and all of a sudden you have a lot of money, scarcity doesn't just go away. Scarcity will continue to happen. You'll have problems in your past, maybe things that come up in your marriage, jealousy issues, whatever it is. You'll have problems in your mindset because, listen, you can accelerate growth, but you can't accelerate problems of the past. You can't accelerate mindset issues. What happens is they actually all come up, and things that maybe would have normally taken 4 to 5 years to happen are now happening in the span of 6 months, 8 months, because you decided to accelerate growth. And here's the other thing. When you choose in your marriage to grow as a couple, your results are going to go from 10x to 20x, and your problems are going to go from 10x to 20x. So don't kid yourself and think that that shit's going to go away, because it's not. See, very few people really rarely talk about this. And here's why. Very few want to be exposed and actually talk about it. This is the place where you get to own your growth. You get to actually recognize, hey, I'm growing, not just me, my spouse is growing. And now we're growing into this place where we have to both figure shit out. You see, it's easy for one of you to grow. It's easy, for you to grow in your own separate directions. But when you come together and put it together, it's like lightning. It's like shit starts happening at lightning speed. And that also means problems will come at lightning speed. So don't be surprised when things start happening, when you start experiencing this discomfort of growth. But this is an opportunity for you to admit it. Admit, hey, I need help. This is where, having, a group like Power Couples, or this is where having a coach like myself inside a habit-based lifestyle comes into play. I see things, I've experienced things that you can't, just like the guys that I was surfing with, where they were out riding waves and doing all this stuff, not even paying attention to me while I'm getting pounded. They were having a completely different experience, but they kept looking back and saying, yeah, I told him he was going to have trouble getting out, because they can see things that I can't, because they had a different view of what was going on than I did. I was in the middle of the chaos, and here they are out riding waves. This is a lot like coaching. I can sit back and have a different view on what's really going on while you're in the chaos. See, I've grown over the last 16 months since we decided to move my family to California. Since we decided to sell our house, my life has grown at an accelerated rate, but it's also exposed some problems in my marriage. It's exposed that as soon as we started coaching couples, things started getting exposed in my marriage, things from my past, things from my wife's past. And we had to work through those as a couple. We had to admit, hey, There's some things coming up that we got to work on. Same thing in business. There was no more guarantee in business. It was us on our own now working through these things. Same with life, having to switch my kid's school after 1 year of being here because we realized, hey, this isn't the best place for our kids. Having to move after 1 year. And here I've, kind of like had this discipline of having this stability and safety inside of a home, owning our home, to now renting homes and being like, shit, we're throwing all this money away. But this has taught me and helped me learn about life that I wouldn't have learned before. These are things that I thought, hey, some of them I've already dealt with, but I still have to deal with them. See, it's easy to do this thing. It's easy to fall in love with your results, especially your past results. It's hard to fall in love with the process. The process is these problems come up, we solve them, and even if we solve them, we recreate new ones. And even if we're recreating new ones, sometimes old ones surface. See, no one looks at what it takes to actually climb the mountain. They just see themselves on the top with their arms up in the air, screaming, yes. But what they don't actually look at is what it's going to take to get there one step at a time. You see, we all want growth, but we don't want to be exposed. And this is what I find with a lot of married couples is they want to grow in their marriage. They want to have a powerful marriage, but they don't want to be exposed. And getting exposed is the thing that you realize, hey, now I got to work on this. Now we got to work through this because working through this makes me stronger. Working through this is going to make me better. We all want the results, but we don't want the pain and discomfort that goes with it. But you know what? You can't have both. You can only have one or the other. So here's to you and your growth inside of 2020. You better be willing to get exposed and get uncomfortable. Sure, you can do it on your own. Trust me, I've done it. I've tried it. But I found that it usually takes 4 to 5 times longer, and it is much more painful and much more uncomfortable, and you will end up creating a lot more chaos than you originally planned. So the one thing that I can tell you this year inside of 2020, if you are truly committed to growth inside of your marriage, inside of your life, you're going to need a coach. And not only a coach, you're going to need other people in your life. It could be, power couples. It could be habit-based lifestyle. It could be somebody you know. But being around other couples is a way for you to leverage their power to help you get back to your power and to get back to accelerating your life and accelerating your results. If you guys are looking to connect further with a group of like-minded people, join myself and so many others in the Habit-Based Lifestyle Secrets group, where I will be dropping daily habits to help you live to your full potential. If you want to be one of our next case studies and begin living this habit-based lifestyle, feel free to reach out to me. If you have questions, comments, or requests, feel free to contact me, Jesse at habitbasedlifestyle.com. Until next episode, have a great day.